Welcome to this episode of our program Daily Debate. As usual, we will be discussing an important debate. Today we'll be speaking about two important topics. Both are taking place and both are of very significant repercussions for Egypt. The first one is the COP26, which is taking place today. Today it took place, or it started to take place in the Scottish city of Glasgow, where 200 countries or more are there trying to represent how they will cut their emissions by 2030 as scheduled and help the planet. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi is also there. He is representing Africa or the African continent at large, with Egypt's highly anticipating taking the helm of this summit next year, or COP27. During this summit, the president will shed light on the issue, the dangers of this phenomenon, and Egypt's pillars towards climate change. Definitely, Egypt has been putting a great strategy, or a national strategy, in order to be able to confront the repercussions of the climate change threats. Plus, it has been mentioning the threats of this phenomena worldwide, or in every international forum that the high leadership himself was attending. Ambassador Bassam Radi, the presidential spokesman, said that the file of the climate change focuses on two aspects. First, the responsibility of the developed countries, blamed for the greenhouse gas emissions that led to the rise in temperatures of the earth, and the suffering of the developing nations because of the repercussions. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi will today address the issue and the Egyptian strategy and the Egyptian vision towards the issue, and will announce his submission for hosting next year climate change conference, or COP27. Today we'll be focusing on that, and also we'll be focusing on the health sector in Egypt, which is or has seen tremendous changes during the past 7 years, or ever since President Fattah al-Sisi assumed office, since a number of initiatives were put that has changed the health situation in Egypt in a dramatic way. We'll be speaking about that and more with our Dr. Saeed Abdel Hadi, former Dean of Faculty of Medicine, Mansoura University. Thank you for joining us.
Pleasure having me.
Yes. Before we delve into our discussion, and before we have this full telephone call with Mr. Salah Hafiz, former head of the Environment Affairs Authority, let's first watch this report.
President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi on Monday delivered Egypt's speech in the 2021 United Nations Climate Change Conference, COP26. At the beginning of his speech, President al-Sisi expressed his pleasure to be amongst the world leaders discussing the issue of climate that is affecting us all. al-Sisi said that the latest report released by the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change has confirmed that enhancing climate action to achieve the threshold of 1.5 degrees Celsius has become inevitable and must not be delayed. The head of state added that he will be focusing on the following points. First, Egypt has initiated serious steps to apply a sustainable development model, at the heart of which lies climate change and adaptation to climate change. This model aims for government-funded green projects to reach 50% by 2025 and 100% by 2030. For example, sources of renewable energy represent today around 20% of the energy mix in Egypt. The country works on bringing it to 42% by 2035, coinciding with the rationalization of energy subsidies. Egypt is also working towards the transition to clean transportation by expanding the metro, rail, and electric vehicle networks, preparing the necessary infrastructure for that, and establishing smart and sustainable cities. This is in addition to the implementation of projects to rationalize water consumption, canal lining, and the integrated management of coastal areas. Second, Egypt understands its duties and is also aware of the magnitude of challenges that all developing countries are facing. Third, although it is not responsible for the climate change crisis, the African continent faces the most negative repercussions and the subsequent economic, social, security, and political consequences. Nevertheless, the continent is considered a model for serious climate action as much as its capabilities and the support that it receives allow. Therefore, Egypt calls for the need to provide the African continent with special treatment, especially within the framework of implementing the Paris Agreement, given its special conditions and the challenges it faces. President Sisi concluded that he is confident that the summit's deliberations and outcomes will convey political commitment to face climate change and adapt it to its negative impacts.